Hello, everyone. Welcome to historic Durango, Colorado, in Fort Lewis College's Center for Innovation. We have the latest installment of the Hawk Tank Workshop series. Tonight, we're going to be talking about your market. We're going to sort of start exploring, hey, how do I find individuals that might be interested in my product? And so we're going to answer a lot of these questions today. Okay, let's see here. One second here. I want to just do a quick little text to make sure everyone's on board. I'm going to reach out to our friends at San Juan College. I know they are going to be online. I don't see them. Thanks for your patience, everyone. Okay. Here we go. Hi. Are you all online? I'm going to try Professor EHOP. Okay, let's just see if we get confirmation from San Juan College, if that's okay with y'all. Gonna try Anthony. Okay. Okay, what's going on here? I'm glad I'm asking. Okay. We're going to stop here for 1 second, y'all. Okay, we're all set. Yeah, we finally got it figured out. Thank you. Yeah, I think we're all good. Okay, thanks. Bye. Okay, let's start again, y'all. Okay, here we go. San Juan College is online. A couple other of you have joined us. Once again, we'll start from the top. Welcome to historic Durango, Colorado. The next installment of the Hawk Tank Workshop series. This evening, we're going to be talking about your market. How do we figure out what our customer needs are? How do we figure out what our pricing should be for that, for goodness sakes? That's what we're going to talk about. We're going to go quickly. We got a lot to cover in 2 hours, a little under 2 hours. This is recorded. You can go onto our YouTube channel and listen to this recording as many times as you like. Please ask questions, interrupt me. I love that. If you have any questions from the Innovation Center, I'll make sure that online you can hear it. What else? And of course, any sort of follow-up questions you might have from watching the video, obviously send me an email and I'd love to answer those. San Juan College, I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow at 3 o'clock for a little private session on your beautiful campus in Farmington. I can't wait to join you all there. So let's get starting. Let's get started. Okay, so what is a market analysis and how does this relate to the business model canvas? What we're going to be talking about today and tackling are your customer segments. Who are those customers that want to buy? We're going to talk about your customer relationships. What are your customers expecting in terms of of reaching them, in terms of educating them about your product or service? And then lastly, we'll be tipping our toes a little bit into revenue streams also. Okay, so market analysis is we need to get data. We need to get some insights on your customers and ideally start developing some analytics. Okay, trying to really figure out is how big my market is, who is my market that's interested in sort of being those first movers to purchase my product or service. Okay, ultimately, if you have a product that you're interested in developing, um, you're not going to have that ideal product right off the bat. And quite frankly, that should not be your goal. Your goal should be what is the minimum viable product that customers want to buy? Because that should be your first goal. And then getting it out there, getting those initial sales, and getting that feedback on how to improve your product. This, like I said before, will hopefully help you with your pricing as well as really focusing on how are we going to market. If we're thinking about starting a business in Durango, yes, there are 19,000 people that live in Durango. There are 57,000 people that live in La Plata County. There's not one idea we've ever had at Hawk Tank. We may never have an idea. I can't think of one that where 19,000 people in Durango would be a potential customer. Why? Because of those 19,000, there are newborns. There's my 12-year-old Wilder. They are not most likely potential customers for any idea that I know this for this round. So who are those specific potential customers? That's what we really want to focus on. Because ultimately we want to start setting, and I'm setting you up for our next session, is we want to start setting some goals, some metrics. How many people do we think we can actually sell Q1, Q2, the first year? How do we specifically target these customers? Now, a lot of questions through this process that we want to answer, y'all. Okay? We want to understand who is our addressable market. This is kind of like that big market, right? So let's say you say that of the 19,000 in Durango, you put together some sort of variables that is your perfect customer. Okay, well, what does that come down to? Let's say that comes down to 6,000 people are sort of what you think is your target. Yeah, you can. That's your addressable market. That may not be your actual target, but now we're sort of narrowing it down from that initial 19,000. Understanding who your competitors are, how they're competing, how you're different. This is really important, y'all, this concept here. I've consulted and had many Hawk Tank businesses who say, we have no competitors. We're the only one in town. Okay? I get this a lot with entertainment companies or these ideas to start sort of entertainment based companies. Well, there's no one that does this in Durango or the Four Corners area. There are still competitors because it's not the competitor, it doesn't have to do the exact same thing as you. The competitor is that organization, that company that is competing for the same disposable income. Okay, I don't know about you all. We only have a certain amount of money for entertainment in my household. That's it. It can only go to a couple places, not big. And so guess what? Any entertainment company theoretically are competitors for that small slice of money that I have. And so that's the way we have to think about our competitors when we're thinking about competition. Okay? Who are those customers that will buy when we open our door? We call them these early adopters. Who are they? Who are those individuals that are okay if there's a couple bugs? Why? Because they want the most innovative. They want the coolest thing. That's what we're thinking about when we think about these early adopters, because really, that should be who our target is when we're starting up. It's not those individuals where you're going to have to take it 6 months to educate them, right? It's those individuals that are ready to move, because guess what? They're going to inform you about your product or service, and they're going to pay for your next iteration. That's the only way this is going to work. We think about that minimum viable product. What are those bells and whistles, those features that you have to have right off the bat? It's not the dream ones, okay? It's not the ideals. It is what is the absolute bare minimum to meet those initial market needs. There have been lots of organizations that I have seen where they're going for that perfect product. What happens is they hemorrhage cash and they go out of business because they can't afford to find perfection. And so really keep an idea, if you're coming with a product base, we're looking for minimum viable product. How are we going to price your stuff? What are customers willing to pay based on other options? Think about the buying process, right? This is getting into that channels we talked about before. How do your customers get aware of new products? Is it word of mouth? Is it from trade magazines? Is it a conference? For all of you, it's probably different. So how do they even learn about new stuff? The second thing is, hey, how do they actually make an educated decision if that's actually the right solution? Is it an influencer on TikTok who they go to? Do they look at medical journals? So really understanding that touch point through the entire buying process. How are you actually going to sell it to them? How are you going to get their money? How are you going to deliver it to them? If you have any after sales, how does that look? Are you calling them? Is it online? Think about the entire buying process, okay? And if you don't know the industry, you need to reach out. And this is going to be a really big theme. We've already discussed it here at the Innovation Center. Is the big theme tonight is, yes, understanding these concepts, but getting out and talking to people, getting out and talking to potential customers, okay? For most of us that are taking part in Hawk Tank, this is an academic exercise. Do not be fearful of reaching out to competitors and seeking their guidance, because most likely those business owners were helped by someone else. Introduce yourself. I'm a Hawk Tank participant in the business plan competition. I'm looking for some guidance. Once again, I said it day one, our community supports Hawk Tank. They're here to help us. What is the most efficient way? When we talk about efficiency, we're talking about what is the way we can do the least amount of resources and reach our target customers. Whenever you see a word efficiency, effectiveness, okay? Efficiency is what? It's about using the least amount of resources. Effectiveness is getting the job done. When we think about your customer segments, some of you have 3 or 4. Some of you have 1. That's okay. But let's say you do have 3 or 4 customer segments that you say are very unique, right? They have a unique value proposition. They have a unique relationship. They have unique channels, right? That's what makes it its own customer segment. Which one is the cheapest to get? Whatever that is, that's the one ideally we probably want to target first, because we are not going to be flush with lots of cash. Why do we care about this stuff, y'all? Number one is it's going to guide your financial projections. And that's what we're going to be talking about next week. It's going to show investors that you understand your customer and you understand your environment. And ultimately, it's going to help you develop extremely targeted marketing programs for that beachhead, for those first movers, for hopefully that customer segment that is the least expensive to capture. Okay? Cool. How do we do this? How do we figure out how large of a market do we actually have? There's two approaches. We can go macro to, kind of go like the big picture down to small, or we can go small to big. Okay, so the first one, this notion would be top down. How we would do this is, let me just go through everything. Oops. Don't do that. No, it's okay. I'm just kidding. We had a yawn here. It's been a long day for yawns. Anyway, um, so it's really just kind of understanding sort of what is the how large is the total size of the market? What do we expect that market to grow? Okay. Looking at the trends, looking at the factors, looking at the competition and the current market share they have. Okay. Oops. Then what we're going to do is we're going to sort of drill down from that. Okay, let's say the United States, the total would be like 1 million. Well, we're going to focus only on Southwest Colorado. That brings us down a certain number. Now we're only going to focus on women this age. It's going to bring us down even more. Now we're going to focus on what is their motivations or behaviors. What are their budgets? Okay, so we go from macro to micro. Oops. And then we can kind of flip it. Maybe you just come up with sort of you're almost like your equation. Say, okay, the individual lives here, demographics here, and then you go, let's say, to the census and say, how many of those people exist in La Plata County, in Durango? There you go. That's our number. Okay. I would say most of us are probably going to go from the bottom up. We're going to come up and describe exactly what that ideal customer looks like. And then we want to use data to figure out how many actually exist out there in the environment. That's the way I think most of us will go. Okay. Cool. I just want to check chat real quick. Okay, I think we're good. Check my phone. Make sure we didn't get any text from our colleagues there. Perfect. Awesome. Good. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about a competitor analysis. First thing you want to do for your competitor analysis is describe, first of all, what you're doing, okay? And then second of all is understanding other individuals, other companies that can solve those same pains, okay? Maybe provide the same gains. Understanding, hey, what is their price point? What is the bells and whistles that they provide for their goods and services? What is the current relationship? Because your follow-up question is going to be to these potential customers is, do you like that? Is there a better way? Because ultimately you're going to say, we're doing that. We're doing it a better way. One framework that I'm going to introduce today, please reach out to me if you want more information, is this notion of a blue ocean strategy. So this actually comes from researchers from the University of California, Berkeley. I think one of them is like Montague is her last name. And this idea is as a new startup, as a new company, how do you ideally want to position yourself in the market to more or less maximize your resources for the biggest bang for your buck, the biggest return on your investment? And we're going to talk about this notion of blue ocean strategy. I love it. Okay, we teach it in our creativity innovation class up at Fort Lewis College. Okay, because we want to see what are those customer segments that are being served really well. Because guess what? Maybe that's not where we're going to go. Maybe we're going to go to those segments that are not being served at all, or just partially. Okay, and we want to understand that. So let's talk about the blue ocean strategy framework. The whole idea with the blue ocean strategy is there's a blue ocean strategy and there's a red ocean strategy. Shocker. So a red ocean strategy is kind of what we think about when we think about business is we're going to enter a business and we're going to compete head to head. right? I think traditionally when we think about starting a new business, that's where our mind goes. But Blue Ocean Strategy actually flips it and says, no, that's not where we want to go. We don't want competition if we can manage, or at least reduce our competition. We want to sort of focus on an area where we can almost like redefine the industry. So recently I was at a conference, which I think everyone knows, right? That's why I wasn't here last week. Mr. Prosser took care of us. And so I went to Cirque du Soleil. Awesome show. And if anyone doesn't know what it is, definitely Google it. It actually comes from Canada, from Quebec. And that's where the French comes from. And arguably, Cirque du Soleil actually followed this Blue Ocean strategy. What they did is they looked at traditional circuses and said, hey, we have traditional circuses. How do we create something that does not compete with circuses? In fact, how do we create something that puts circuses out of business, which they did? They put Barnum and Bailey out of business. Okay? And so what do? You say, okay, you look at circuses right now, what can we remove that really audiences don't really sort of find maybe as PC? Animals. Guess what? Current population is not really big on having these wild animals tamed. Cirque du Soleil, get rid of them. Three ring, a little having like a center of attention, right, with your ringmaster. Get rid of it. Okay? What can we add? Right? What did Cirque du Soleil? They made it refined. They have multiple, like in Las Vegas, there are 6 Cirque du Soleils going on right now. 6. Think about traditional circus. Could Las Vegas have 6 Barnum and Baileys running at the same time? No, of course not. Barnum and Bailey had 2 shows in the U.S. They had a blue and they had a red, north and south. That's as far as they could scale. Okay? That's how they did it. Okay? We can talk more about that. So what we're really trying to understand is, what are these factors, what are these features that we can do and kind of do different than our competitors? Okay? What factors do we get rid of? I already gave you some examples. Which ones do we reduce? Which one do we raise? Cirque du Soleil is insanely expensive. I wanted a drink. It cost me $45. One beverage. Okay? That's what they raised. Okay? What did they create? They created this super awesome entertainment. Okay? When we think about sort of this notion of customer value, it's, hey, how do we increase our productivity in ways that our competition doesn't? How do we simplify things? How do we make things more convenient? How do we reduce their risks? How do we make it cooler? Okay, here's an example. Okay, Southwest Airlines. Do you all know who Southwest Airlines wanted to get their customers from? It wasn't from other airlines. The original idea with Southwest Airlines was to become so efficient they could compete with Greyhound. Okay? So think about that. With Greyhound, a bus. That's who they thought they wanted to steal customers from. Okay? They didn't want to steal customers from United, American, because that wasn't their business model. They didn't use any of the aggregates to sell their stuff. They use only secondary markets. They only use one type of aircraft, right? Efficiency, efficiency, efficiency. Okay. So we want to identify those customers that are ready and willing, okay, and able to buy now. Okay. That's why we're looking for minimum viable product. That's why we're looking for those customer segments that want to be those first movers. Okay, I know that we spend a lot of mental energy because look, I've done this many times, and I fall folly to this too, where I spend this mental energy like, okay, in 5 years we're going to do this, and in 10 years we're going to do this. I love that thinking, but we need to focus on where the rubber hits the road and how we make you sustainable as quickly as possible. Okay, We're not expecting in the business plan competition, if you're doing this for real life and you're working with Region 9 or SBDC or the Accelerator Escape, it is a huge red flag for your mentors. It is a huge red flag for potential funders if you say you're going to be profitable in the first quarter. Huge. Okay. Most startups do not turn profits until years 2 or 3. Something to think about. Okay. Something to think about. Okay. So when we're interviewing your customers, we want to really understand if their problem and your solution matches. Okay. Because that's the only way they're going to respond to your value prop, whatever you're all coming up with. Okay. How are they already solving it? Okay. Are there any things that they're not being served well enough? Yep, go for it. Okay. Okay, awesome. So Elliot asked the question, what about Region 9? So Region 9 has a lot of stuff going on. I like to go to Region 9 definitely for data. Okay, same with the La Plata County economics is also a really great economic development agency is really great for data. Okay, they have access to census data that's really specific for our region. Region 9 data is amazing. Check it out. Okay, Region 9 also sometimes helps with funding. Okay, they also have resources for funding. They've actually funded a number of startups here in Durango. I think they helped fund MuniRevs. I believe they helped fund Get Prime when they were still in Durango before they were bought out and moved up to Provo. So that's sort of how they could help you. Yeah, definitely check it out, Elliot. There's some good stuff there. Yeah, awesome. Great question, Elliot. Okay, awesome. Okay, so I talk about buying impediments. What does that mean? When you're talking to your customer, figuring out why they won't buy from you or why they can't buy in general is critical. When I used to be in sales, I only wanted to talk to one person and one person only. Who do you guys think it is? Absolutely. The person that can sign and pay for it, right? I don't want to start at like a manager and have to work my way up to CFO if that's the process. I want to start the CFO. Okay, those individuals that can actually make the decision, not an individual that needs approval. Okay, understanding, hey, does your solution have to be integrated into a whole other system? Okay, that's going to be a buying impediment. Really important. Okay, does your solution require $1 million investment? It's going to be a lot harder to convince someone. Your sales cycle just quadrupled. Okay. Okay. Is the problem not big enough? And what that means is the competition already solving it. And you're not doing it more efficient, so you can't charge a lower price. So that's something to really consider. Okay. So, understanding and documenting the buyer process. We've talked about this, right? How do you get the awareness? How do they make the decision? How do they actually buy? This is sort of what we're talking about, okay? And these are the questions I'll go back to it. You have to ask potential customers, y'all. Okay? There's just not enough information online, I think, to get the depth that you want. And ChatGPT is not going to help you on this one. We need to talk to real entrepreneurs to ask them, hey, how do you know what your need is? Okay? How do you find those solutions? Once again, right? This is reinforcement. What are those alternative solutions? How do you find those? Okay? How do you make your purchasing decision? Do all your customers have to get to check someone off? Who is it? Let's figure this out. This is one of my favorite questions to ask. Okay? How does your buyer evaluate their success? How does your buyer's boss evaluate their success? Oh my goodness, that's gold, y'all. Okay? I love that question. How does your boss gauge your success? How can I make you more successful? Okay, customers love, I want that. Okay, cool. Now, this is one concept I want to kind of introduce to you all. And what it's called is the buying process funnel. This is an extremely important concept. And this is for a couple of the app online. This is going to be really, or app sort of participants. This is going to be really important to you. And what the buying funnel is you're going to start out with a huge number of what you say is going to be your addressable market. It's going to be huge. Okay, maybe you say within Southwest Colorado, there's a million potential customers. Okay, awesome. Now you have to think about how many customers do you have to touch to get a buy? Okay, what does it look like? Let's say you say, the way I'm going to get awareness is I'm going to put online ads. I'm going to put my ads on TikTok. Awesome. How many clicks do you need to get on that ad to get one buy? Okay. So let's say that you need to see, I'm making these numbers up. Okay. Let's say your research shows you that, hey, guess what? I need to have my ad seen by 100,000 people in order to get 10,000 to actually click on it. Of the 10,000 that click on it, only 1,000 stay longer than 15 seconds to actually look at the information. Of the 1,000 that look at the information, 100 actually ask for more information. Of the 100 that ask for more information, 10 actually will take a call from us. Of the 10 that actually make a call from us, 1 buys a purchase. Now, guess what? You can go do that analysis, your cost analysis, and figure out what that costs for your customer acquisition. How much did it cost you to get those 100,000 eyes on your ad? Okay. How does that relate to that one sell? We need to understand that the best we can. Because ideally, if you have multiple customer segments, maybe there's one that actually only needs 50,000 views to get to that one sell. Maybe it's 10,000 views. That's the one we probably want to focus on first. Why? It's going to be your cheapest customer acquisition cost. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. Okay. Understanding how long they're going to be in each phase. What's your sales cycle? My sales cycle, and remember this, the more complex it is, the more expensive it is, the longer the sales cycle. Just think about yourself. My guess is if something costs $1, you're probably quicker to pull the trigger than you would if it was $1 million, or at least for me it is. Okay. And so it's really understanding, hey, what does it cost to get eyes on it, to actually click on it? Okay. What is that percentage? Right? The math that I was doing is you were losing 90% each time. Is that what it is? But really understanding what is that attrition. And then, of course, where the rubber hits the road is, gosh, how much does it cost? And that cost is just not what you're paying for the advertisement. You have to put about your labor costs, the follow-up, right? When does the human element get in there? Your employees are not cheap. You're not cheap. So understanding the cost that's associated with that. Maybe TikTok ads are not the way to go. Okay? Maybe it's not the way to go. Or maybe TikTok ads are only good at one phase. But without talking to customers, understanding what they currently use, or perhaps more importantly, what they prefer to use, you just can't get it, y'all. Okay? You just can't get it. Okay. Because we want to put numbers on this. We want to be able to say, hey, our research shows a customer is going to cost us X number of dollars. And understanding that, because that's going to be built into your model. Okay, cool. Any questions, y'all? Customer acquisition costs. Go for it, Elliot. Okay, I love it. Okay, okay, okay. So the question is Elliot actually has posted some online ads for his business. He's gotten some clicks, no sales yet. And his question was, more or less, and I'm going to paraphrase, how do I come up with those numbers, right? Is that what you're saying? Say like to roll into the program. Okay, I'm not. Like, I'm gonna like read into this a little bit of this question, Elliot. Um, Number one is it's not going to be perfect. Okay, and Elliot's a perfectionist. If no one knows Elliot, he's a hard worker. He's a perfectionist. He's all in on his idea. It's true. He reaffirmed that I got that to a T. Okay, yeah, totally, Elliot. Absolutely, I love it. That's why I'm motivated to help you, man. So first and foremost is Elliot is never going to land on the real number. You're just not. Okay, you need to have a lot more resources out there. We need a ton more data collected. But that's not a concern for me personally. Because what you're going to be able to do, Elliot, through your work is you're going to be able to give real numbers. Okay, you're going to be able to tell the judges in your business plan. Well, right now with our original, with our initial pilot testing, uh, this is what our hit rate is. Right? We get this many views, we get a click, we get this much time. That's just where you're at, Elliot. Okay. If you get a couple sales, even better. Your data's become even more robust. But I wouldn't sort of be too concerned if you don't land on that ideal and get that number. Okay, I need 1,000 views to get one sell. Okay, that would be great. I'm already impressed. But I think we shouldn't really, I just want you not to like get too anxiety driven. Like, why am I not getting these numbers? Why am I not getting all this business plan's garbage? No, not at all. Okay, not at all. Okay, sure, absolutely. Because you're going to be able to talk about the sales cycle. You're going to be able to say, well, listen, I've done my pilot test. This is what I had, and guess what? I have had no sales. Fair enough. Talk about it. It's a great story. Why not? Okay. But that's what we're going to talk about. That's what I think is really critical. Does that make sense? Okay, awesome. Okay, customer acquisition cost. Okay. Uh, it's a big one. Understanding exactly what it costs to get someone to buy from you. And it's not free. Okay. Your time, even if you don't put a salary into your business model, okay. My recommendation, by the way, and I'll say this again, is you should put a salary in your business model. Maybe not the first year, maybe not the first 6 months, but at some point, you do, because it's fiction that you're going to work for free. Okay, I don't know anyone that can. I mean, maybe you're personally wealthy, but I see some laughter here. We all need to work for a living, at least most of us do. And so at some point, you're going to have to be honest and say, hey, listen, I had a bare minimum need $60,000 to provide for my family and provide for me. And that has to be in your business model. Okay. Otherwise, it's really fiction. And I want this to be as real and as tangible as possible. So understanding this, because also you have to budget this because it's not free. Okay. Even if you're a digital marketing expert, and we have one of the most amazing digital marketing programs up at the fort. Amazing. We have industry leaders up there as professors. But guess what? It costs money. Even if you have the skill set to develop things and put things on, Google doesn't do it for free. Okay? And we want to think about the entire cycle. And when you all first do this for the first time, you're going to get sticker shock. You are. You're going to be, oh my gosh, it costs that much? Yeah. For the ideal, perhaps. And so what is that going to make you do? It's going to make you rethink. What is the most important? Who are those customers that are the cheapest, that are going to be the first movers? And that's who you have to focus on. Okay? Think about not only that we got to pay for Google, right? Those internal costs is your own labor. Okay? Think about what it costs for each level of that funnel. Okay? And I know I'm hammering home the internal support thing. I cannot tell you the number of business plans I've seen that don't have any labor costs. Okay? Your employees want to be paid a living wage. You want to be paid a living wage. Okay? One thing you want to think about too, and this is gonna be part of that financial model we'll go over next week. Some of your customers are going to return your product. We need to take that into consideration. Okay. Are there additional costs to bring new people on board? Yes, the answer is yes. Okay, I'll just tell you right now. The answer is yes. Your employee training is going to cost money. They're not just going to show up and know everything about your company. Okay. Think about those charges after the sale also. If you say in terms of your business model that your customers expect a lot of hands-on, a lot of touch points. And yes, you're going to do some aftermarket stuff. Your employee is going to be calling them and talking to them. They're going to be expensive because it's not only their salary, y'all, it's the overhead. Right? If you have a full-time employee, are you going to provide health care? You're going to have taxes. You need to think about all of those expenses. Okay, any questions on that? I know it's fast. Okay, cool. Let's talk about really quickly about pricing. Once again, talk to your customers, do your research. What is your competitors charging? And remember, competitors does not mean they're selling the exact same thing. Your competitors you're fighting for the same disposable income. That's my definition, should be our definition of a competitor. You're going to have to balance this idea of value and pricing. Here's a great, let me ask you, I actually didn't ask this a couple weeks ago. What does value mean to you? What does it mean, customer value? I think value is one of those words that is used so much, but at a certain level, it's really a challenge to define it. So what do you think? How would you define value? Anyone? Okay, Elliot said how you're solving the problem and the problem you're solving for them. Okay. Other thoughts? Ooh, I like it. The weight of the impact of the solution. Yeah, I like that. How do we calculate the differences in individuals and how they place value on something? Do we all value things the same? Yeah, no? Okay. I got a lot of blank stares here, y'all. Okay. No, I'm just curious. One of the ways I like to think about value, and those that know me know I'm an addict. I love coffee. I can't get enough of it. I used to drink it like 24/7. It seemed like. I try to now block me off like 2 or 3 o'clock. So I live near Durango Joe's on College. Okay. So does anyone know what a large drip coffee at Durango Joe's costs? What is it? Very good. 425. I was gonna say 415, but it's probably 425 now. So over $4. And I remember when it went over $4, I was kind of a little sticker shock. Now, if you don't know about Durango Joe's College, if you walk out the front door of Durango Joe's on College Ave and you take a right, about a block away, there's a place to buy coffee for about $1. If you go out the front door and you take a left, 2.5 blocks away, there's another place where you can buy coffee for about $1. So Durango Joe's ability to charge almost 4x for arguably the same product should be asking us, holy smokes, what is the value that Durango Joe's is creating to convince people to pay $4 when they can walk a block away and get it for $1? That's value. Okay? And we could say, well, they have a higher quality bean. We can say that there's a really cool room to like a conference room where you can go and study and meet people in your community. Oh my goodness, when I walk into Durango Joe's, they make me feel so good. And they provide great service and they remember my coffee order. That's value. And I would argue that's what people are paying $4 for compared to $1. Another way to think of value is I think about my brother Samuel Valdez. Samuel Valdez, a 2002 graduate of Fort Lewis College. Samuel went to another school in New York City before coming to the Fort. And I remember asking Sam, hey Sam, how much would you have paid for your education at Fort Lewis College? And his response was really tells me about the value. And his answer was, hey Michael, I would have paid as much as it cost to go to Boulder. So let's say Sam paid $10,000, Boulder that time was $20,000. For Samuel Valdez, the value of his Fort Lewis College education was $10,000. He felt he made out $10,000 worth. Okay, that's value. Okay, that's why our former president, President Thomas, used to say Fort Lewis College is the best value in the state of Colorado. And what she was saying is people would pay more for that level of education. And I agree with that. So that's what we're thinking about value. And we have to balance that value we're creating for our customers and how we capture that in our prices. Okay? We want to really think about that. Okay. And now if the solution is a product, there's going to be different ways that you're going to do your pricing. Okay? Maybe you're going to say if you buy 1 unit, you get this price. If you buy 10 units, it costs this price. Great. We're going to model that. Fine. Are you able to bundle your services? Bundle your products. I mean, look at telecommunications. Look at Spectrum. Right? You call Spectrum to get some internet to your home. What are they going to do? They're going to pitch their home phone. They're going to pitch their cell phone service. And they're going to give you a great deal. Okay? Why? Well, because guess what? They're fixed costs. It doesn't cost much to put another person on their cell phone. It doesn't cost much to get you cable in your home. Right? Because they've done all the original investment. It's like a click of a button. So the more you'll buy from them, the cheaper it is for them. And of course, they're going to give you a deal. So think about the bundling. Okay? That could be a really good way to add value. Now, if you're a service, software, you're thinking about doing an app, think about subscription services. Okay? You probably aren't going to be too concerned about scale pricing. Right? Someone who's going to be buying an app, they're probably not going to buy 10 site licenses for that app. They have one phone. Okay? I want to give a big caution, though, for this freemium idea. I've worked with a lot of app developers, and there's this big sense of, well, if I give it away for free long enough, people will start paying for it. Research shows that's not the case, y'all. What research shows, at least from a psychological perspective, is strong correlation between price and perceived value. Okay? And so be really cautious about giving your stuff away for free. I'm actually, as you can tell, I'm pretty against it. It can be something where you tease them, right? But you got to get them paying. Okay? Got to get them paying. Any questions on that? Okay, cool. Now, test your assumptions, y'all. This is the theme I told you. Okay. You have to survey potential real customers. There's no ifs, ands, or buts, y'all. You got to do it. Okay. We want to conduct surveys, face to face interviews, ideally. There's a lot of different ways we can do this. You can take a clipboard and just walk down Main Street. We've had participants do that. We've had local business owners do that. You can leverage AWS from Amazon. That's another mechanism where they'll actually help you with some of your data collection. But go out there and collect real information from real potential customers. It's going to pay back in spades, y'all. Trust me on this one. When you ask them questions, okay, do not make it binary. Okay, yes, no questions, okay, or leading questions don't help you, right? I'll give you an example, right? Let's say you ask a question. I'm just going to use widgets, right? Hi, I have this widget. It works really great. It works way better than anything you've ever seen before. Would that interest you? Yeah, right? What value is that? Right? As opposed to, hi, you're in this industry. I know you use this. How's that working for you? What do you wish was better? And then just be quiet and listen. Okay? Take notes. Because ideally, if we're doing a product or service and you're asking these open-ended questions, we're going to get to that minimum viable product. We're going to get to those needs, those pains that aren't being solved. And that's where we want to land, y'all. Okay? This is a tough one for us. It's a tough one for me. Part of this process is really kind of like not falling in love with your solution. Okay, Gary Masner, who really helped create a lot of these workshops, one of his most favorite sayings, and I think we get this at some point today, is do not fall in love with your solution, fall in love with the problem. Fall in love with the problem you're trying to solve, and then create a solution around that is the best. Okay? This idea of go, no girl hurdle, and this is the tough one, is you more or less have to you'll more or less have to set guardrails, set a limit. Let's say you interview, let's say you say, okay, I want to go out and I want to interview 20 potential customers. I need to get, let's say, 15 of them to more or less agree that I'm headed in the right direction. And if you don't get that number, you got to pivot. Okay? It's not that you go out and you interview 20, you get one that says they're interested, and you say, okay, as long as I get one out of the 20. You got to really be cognizant of that and understand, why are they not liking my solution? Okay? And you need to set that bar before you go out and interview. Because what's going to happen is there's a lot of decision-making biases in our brain. We have things like recency effect. So the most recent information we hear, we believe that's stronger and more true than stuff we've heard in the past. We have things like sunk cost bias, that where we invest all of our time in this information, or our time and money, and then we say, well, look, like, we can't stop now. Okay? And like, this is a lot of head nods in house tonight. This is real. Okay? This is just how our brains work. And so setting that bar, like, I got to get this level of answers, otherwise it's a no-go. Okay? This is it. I love this. Wait. Don't fall in love with your solution. Okay? Fall in love with your problem and be ready to pivot if necessary. Okay? I love that quote. Thank you, Mr. Masner. Okay, sales targets and projections. This is kind of leading us slowly into next week. Okay. When we kind of briefly talked about this 2 weeks ago, we had a little kind of like after hour session in the Innovation Center. When we think about this financial model that we're going to be working on, a huge part of this financial model, a huge part of your business plan is going to be articulating the assumptions that you're making. Okay? The assumptions that you're making. If you say there are these many potential customers, what are the assumptions that went into play? Okay? What are the assumptions that went into play? If you say you can charge X number of dollars, how did you come up with that assumption? Why do you think that's what it is? I would almost argue that that's the most important part of this process. More so than the actual financial model and numbers. Because listen, people reading this, and this could be a hot tank judge, this can be a bank, this could be an angel investor, this can be an accelerator. They already assume, and quite frankly know, that those numbers are rubbish. Mr. Masner used to say that he reviewed 40,000 business models, and he's never seen one actually come up like they thought, right? And this is reality. So what they want to know is, and what they're looking for is, are you realistic? What's your critical thinking? How did you come up with these assumptions and these numbers? That's what they really want to see. That's what they're going to be making investments in if they're investing in your organization. Okay, that's a big one, and this will be a theme too. We'll definitely come back to this next week. Okay. Thinking about, hey, how long is it going to come? It's going to take us to get these resources, to be aware of it. Once again, this gets back to this modeling. And I'm going to push back on any of these models that anyone comes for help to me. It's a huge red flag. I know I've said it. If you say you're going to be profitable that first quarter, it's huge. Okay, because how are you going to get that website up? Where is that marketing collateral? How are you going to train your salespeople? You're not making a sale your first day, y'all. You got to produce the products. You got to produce the services. And you need to signal that, y'all. And that's real. Okay? Thinking about that sales cycle. This is all related. Okay? What are those resources you need? And this is all going to come sort of, you're going to see more of this in the financial model that we'll go over next week. Okay, cool. That was it, y'all. That was a lot. I'll hang around here in-house to answer any additional questions. I'm going to check my phone to see if we have anything from San Juan College. Okay, nothing from San Juan College. Well, I'll see San Juan College tomorrow at 3 o'clock. I cannot wait to hang out with y'all. If there's any resources y'all want me to bring down, please shoot me an email. Professor Brendan, please shoot me a text if there's anything you'd like me specifically to bring down tomorrow. Of course, I am more than happy to do that. This video will be on our YouTube channel. Okay, and so if you look at the last sort of invitation, tonight's workshop, if you click on that link for tonight, you'll actually get the digital recording of this. If you click on FLC Hawk Tank on the YouTube channel, it'll give you all of the videos so far, as well as give you the videos that will be coming up, just so you know where to watch the live streaming. So without further ado, thank you so much, and don't hesitate to reach out to me if I can help you in any way. Good night, y'all.